Coming up on this episode of RealiTEA Time with Sha'Vae J. So this is the very first episode of RealiTEA Time with Sha'Vae J. For those of you joining via YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with 3 friends. For those of you tuning in via the Creative Roots podcast website, thank you for joining. Don't forget to follow Creative Roots on Instagram and Facebook at creativeroots.ent. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into celebrity news. Okay, so before we move on, okay, let's just make this clear. Nikki and Kenneth are not divorced, okay? A source close to Nikki confirms that she only changed her name on her social media profiles to promote her music, and that's it. So, Barbs, I need y'all to calm down. Spectators, everybody else, calm down and take a breather, please, okay? So, here's my thing with this whole idea about Nikki changing her name. First of all, I don't understand why this is trending news. I mean, people change their @ names all the time. I mean, whenever they feel inspired, they change their @ name to whatever they choose to change it to. Now, I'm guessing because Nikki's a public figure and she has a lot of fans, I'm sure, and then granted, she's not as active on her social media profiles as she once was. So I can see why people are like, on edge, like, oh, Nikki changed her name. Something must be going wrong with her and Kenneth. But I mean, I don't think it's enough to cause all of this chaos. So here's the inside scoop on what happened. So I guess on Nikki's Twitter and Instagram, when she married Kenneth, she changed her name to Mrs. Petty, okay, on all her social media profiles. And as she should, because that's her husband, that's her last name, so she can do what she wants, okay? Now, in the recent week or so, Nikki changed her IG name to Barbie and her Twitter name to Yikes, which is the title of her single. So this is kind of what led fans to suspect that something must be going on with her and Kenny. But I think the reason why people are really making the fuss about Nikki changing her name is because of Kenny's legal trouble and the fact that weeks prior to Nikki's name change, he was taken into custody for failing to register as a sex offender in the state of California, where he now resides with Nikki. Okay? So I think that's the real reason why. I feel like because what just happened with Kenneth and him turning himself in and the legal trouble that he has and the fact that people know, like, once you are married to someone, whatever baggage they have kind of becomes yours. So I think Nikki's fans and people who like Nikki are just kind of nervous about what is going to happen with her dealing with someone like, Kenneth that has a criminal background, okay? So here's my theory. I'm going to play around with this. This is my theory. Now, before I even get into it, let me just say this, okay? These are my opinions from what I gather from resources and articles that cover celebrity news, okay? That's it. I am not trying to throw shade. I mean, things I say might sound a little shady out of comic relief, but keep in mind it's for entertainment purposes only, okay? Let's just make that clear. So anyway, back to my theory. So I think that Nikki fans are happy for her and her union with Kenneth, but I also think that they are a little bit skeptical of Kenny and how his actions may affect Nikki and her reputation, as I mentioned before. And to be honest, I think all of us were just a little shocked when we found out that she was dealing with Kenny because, number one, we don't know much about him. And number two, what we do know about him is just a little disturbing. Now, Nikki has made it clear that the allegations against Kenny that occurred in 1995, he was, around 16 at the time, and the accuser was 15, okay? And Nikki also has mentioned before that the story may be a little bit fabricated and it's not what it appears to be. Okay. Now, Nikki, I understand that you're going to ride for your man, but you have to understand, girl, you preach a lot to your fans about, not letting the guy treat them a certain way and how to, uphold their standards. So I think it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Because clearly what you told your fans to do, you kind of, I mean, you're doing it, but I don't know. It's a sticky situation, or a sticky, not even sticky. It's very, this relationship between her and Kenneth, I would say, is just very, it's kind of odd and maybe a little bit out of the blue for some people, okay? So now I'm not saying that Kenny is a bad person. And of course, I expect Nikki to ride by her man as she should. But given the circumstances, I feel like a lot of us are kind of like side eyeing her because we don't see what she sees in him. I mean, it's obvious that he makes her happy. And for her fans, I just feel like that's not enough. Now, what I mean by that is, I think Nikki's fans, they want her to be happy, and they are happy to see her smiling, okay? But I think they want a little bit more. I want a little bit more. Like happiness, okay, we get it that he understands you better than other people could. He makes you smile. He kisses your feet. He does little things like that. But what else can you tell us about Kenneth? You get what I'm saying? Like, we need to know a little bit more about him. And it's just the fact that you're a public figure. Granted, it's none of my business and it's none of y'all business who he is. Maybe she don't want us to know anything about Kenneth, hence why he might not have any social media profiles. But at the same time, Nikki, I think we deserve to know just a little bit more about him, okay? So I just feel like Kenneth is a big mystery, and it's not in a good way. Like, Nikki, we want to know why you chose Kenny. We want to know, what is he doing? Like, what we see and hear about him kind of doesn't match what you express about him. And I guess we just want to know just a little bit more, okay? Now, to end this topic, because the fans and people were causing so much chaos about Nikki changing her name on Twitter and Instagram, she decided to change her name back to Mrs. Petty to keep everyone off her back. So, once again, the Pettys are still rocking out with one another, and who knows? Maybe Nikki will give us some more tea about them, or about what happened with her name change and all of this other stuff on an episode of Queen Radio soon. Who knows? I don't know. But you know what, Nikki? If you are happy, girl, I am happy for you. And that's all that matters, okay? In other news, y'all, let's get down to Kirk and Rasheeda. So let me just say this. First of all, this whole Kirk and Rasheeda thing is a hot mess, okay? Now, not only is Kirk being accused of adopting and marrying Rasheeda when she was a very young, but supposedly Rasheeda's mother is well aware and was supportive of Kirk adopting Sheeda at 15 and marrying her at 17. So word on the street, y'all, is that Miss Shirlene, and that's Rasheeda's mother, for those of you who don't know, she was chasing some dude, or she was in some type of love affair, or she just is madly in love with this guy, and packed up her stuff and moved to Hawaii, and basically gave Kirk custody of her daughter for the time being, I guess, okay? Not to mention, at this time, supposedly, Rasheeda was 17 and Kirk was 30 when they decided to get married. So obviously, this is where the whole comparison with Kirk being compared to R. Kelly and all of this stuff comes from, okay? So now, for those of you who watch Love and Hip Hop, y'all know Miss Charlene and Kirk had a big beef, big beef before, like a couple of seasons ago. And I still feel like they on good terms, but I don't know. I still kind of sense like tension between the two. So this story opens up all the right doors for conspiracy theorists to nitpick their marriage, their entire marriage, and find ways to make connections to the fact that Kirk took advantage of his legal guardian privileges and that Rasheeda could possibly have been a child bride, okay? So if this story is true, just like everyone else feels, of course, Rasheeda and Kirk's storyline on Love and Hip Hop would have been one from the books, for the books, and entertaining. Now, I'm saying that because obviously the storyline that they currently have on Love and Hip Hop, it's a juicy one, or at least the one that they had before. It was pretty juicy. Now, had they come out with a storyline like this with the whole adoption thing, I just feel like it just would have been a hot mess. And the way we view Kirk and Rasheeda now, if this story had come out and this was a storyline that they were portraying on Love and Hip Hop, I'm sorry, I don't think people would have as much respect for them as they do now, okay? So, since these allegations came out, okay, Kirk and Rasheeda have a little message for the people, and they've responded, and here is what they had to say.
In my business.
These mathematicians and rocket scientists out here.
First of all, I ain't f***ing adopt Rasheeda. I don't even answer but since y'all on the stupid I'm not interested in adopting Rasheeda. I would definitely not be into marrying nobody at mother 17 and I'm 31.
I damn sure wasn't thinking about getting married at 17. I have a son who's 19.
Grow up. I know y'all read a age on the internet and think you don't know. Dumb. Okay.
Oh my God.
And for the record, I'm not going to tell nobody's age, but I'm not even going to say what I need to say, but trust me, I'm not interested in marrying a fucking minor. I never want to. So y'all got me fucked up.
And people really sitting there trying to add shit up.
But see,
and there you have it, folks. The frosts have spoken. So basically, as you can see in this video, Rasheeda and Kirk are laughing at these conspiracy theorists or laughing at these people who have conjured up this story. And Rasheeda is saying, girl, bye. I was not interested in being married when I was 17. And Kirk is like, listen, trust me, never in my life have I been interested in being with a minor, let alone marrying them. Now, I don't know if y'all peeped, but Kirk says that the ages listed for both Rasheeda and him online is absolutely false. False. Now, the two announced on a recent episode of Love and Hip Hop that they were celebrating their 20th year anniversary. Okay? So this is how this story kind of came out. Again, mind you, this story was out about 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So a Twitter user took the 20-year marriage timeline, combined it with the ages that are listed on the internet to support their theory that Kirk adopted Rasheeda at 17 and they've been married since then. And to be honest, y'all, as I mentioned before, this is not the first time that I've heard this, okay? It could just be gossip. Whether it is or not, who knows? Nonetheless, Kirk and Rasheeda, they say it's not true. So y'all, it ain't true, okay? We're going to stay out of married people's business and we're going to move on, okay? We just going to move on. Now, let's talk about some beef on Wild 'N Out with Emmanuel Hudson and Spoken Reasons, okay? They had major beef on the latest episode of Wild 'N Out. Although you can sense and see the awkward tension on this episode of Wild 'N Out, so if you watched the recent episode, you would understand what I mean. But I think, although the tension was there and it was kind of, hostile, I think Emmanuel handled himself really well considering the circumstances, okay? Because I know that if it were other cast members and they had, some beef with a guest that came on the show, I don't know if they would have handled it as Emmanuel did. I think he did pretty well, okay? And he even gave Spoken Reasons a chance to apologize to him in front of everybody, his castmates, and the world. I don't think Spoken Reasons did that, but anyway. So for those of you who don't know, E-Man is accusing Spoken Reasons of finessing him years ago when the Asking All Them Questions video came out. Now y'all know that video, the Asking All Them Questions. Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions. Asking all them questions. That video was hot, okay? That video was hot. It was funny. It was comical. And to be honest, that collabo was really, it was lit. It was lit. So, supposedly, Spoken Reasons, and this is how the video was initiated, okay? So, supposedly, Spoken Reasons had his people reach out to Emmanuel Hudson to invite him to Florida or wherever they shot the video at so that they can collab and shoot the video, okay? Now, granted, Emmanuel Hudson didn't know, or this is according to Email, because I watched his live. I watched a little bit of it at least. And he came out with a live video, or he went live after the episode of Wild 'N Out aired, so he could kind of further explain what was going on, because obviously people are, they have different opinions about what took place. So Email went live just to, kind of explain his story, okay? So he says that first and foremost, okay, E-Man was coming out with videos, okay? But he didn't know who Spoken Reasons was. So Spoken Reasons must have saw a video that Emmanuel Hudson had put out and said, you know what? I want to work with you. So remember, if you watch the episode, if you remember in the battle, Spoken Reasons kept bringing up the fact that even when he went live too after the episode aired, he keeps bringing up the fact that he put Emmanuel on his first flight, okay? Now, Emmanuel is not denying that. He's like, yeah, you did put me on my first flight, because we wanted to work together. But Spoken Reasons is kind of making it seem like he made Emmanuel Hudson, okay? Now, let's just put this out there. If you haven't noticed, that video right now has over 66 million views, okay? So now this is where the problem comes in. So y'all know, when you create a YouTube video, you can monetize off of the content that you put out there. So you can gain the source of income. So 66 million views, that's a big check. And Emmanuel said it was a pretty big check. Now, according to him, when it was time for him to receive his fair share of those funds, Spoken Reasons ghosted him. Okay? Now, keep in mind that the Asking All Them Questions video is on Spoken Reasons YouTube channel. So obviously, he's getting the check. But if Emmanuel Hudson is in the video, and I'm pretty sure they came up with an agreement that, I don't think it was a paperwork agreement, which they probably should have did, but YouTube back then, you wasn't really worried about that. So I guess they had like a verbal agreement that, okay, if we monetize off this, I'm going to get mine, you get yours. Because to be honest, Emmanuel Hudson is like the face of that video, and he made the video funny. So I don't even know who Spoken Reasons is, to be truthfully. Let's be truthful. Like, I remember him from back then, but like when I found out that he was on the show, I had to say, like, Spoken Reasons. Who's Spoken Reasons? Then I saw his face and I said, oh, that's Spoken Reasons. So yeah, I don't understand how he was just going to ghost Emmanuel and not give him his cut. But anyway, y'all know that God works in mysterious ways though, okay? Because at the end of the day, Spoken Reasons may have finessed Emmanuel out of however amount he was supposed to receive. However, E-Man has gone on to be super successful in his comedic career, while Spoken Reasons became a who dat, okay? Who dat? Who on the show? Who said that? And now, after like 8 or so years since the video has dropped, Spoken Reasons is trying to come back into the limelight, back into the Hollywood, scene, okay? So since that video, I don't think anyone has heard anything from him. If you have, great. I haven't, okay? So I guess his way of trying to come back into Hollywood, and I don't know, maybe his management thought this would be a good idea for him to start off on Wild 'N Out, but I don't know if that was a good call. Now, the question is, was going on Wild 'N Out a smart choice for Spoken Reasons? And here's my take on it. I say yes. And I say yes because I feel like any publicity is good publicity, meaning that it can benefit you one way or another, okay? He went on the show. People saw him. Now people who weren't aware of the beef are now aware of the beef. And I'm pretty sure when he went live, he had at least a couple 100,000 followers who tuned in, okay? So you're getting that recognition, okay? You're coming back in the limelight. Now, are you just coming to the surface for a short period of time, or are you here to stay? And this is why I say no. So it's a yes because of publicity, and then I say no because I just feel like Wild 'N Out is Emmanuel Hudson's show. And Spoken Reasons, that the show has no filter. The cast will most likely feel some type of way towards you because of what you did to E-Man, what I'm suspecting. And then I'm expecting that they're thinking, if you're coming on this show and E-Man is on here, you coming on here to blow it up, to be funny, to make us win. And clearly he didn't come and deliver, okay? And not to mention, I found out that he also has some type of beef with DC Young Fly, okay? And Emmanuel Hudson says it has nothing to do with his situation with Spoken Reasons. They have their own situation. But I guess the fact that E-Man and DC are on the same show, and I'm pretty sure they might be close now, they both on the same team. So you don't like him, I don't like him, we both don't like him. Let's just get it. And I think Spoken Reasons also has something, him and Nick might have, a little battle or beef a couple years ago. I'm not sure. But from the looks of it, it sounds like Spoken Reasons is, she's just causing trouble everywhere, okay? Causing trouble. So at the end of the day, Spoken Reasons, I feel like, you set yourself up to be the butt of the joke for the entire show. Even DJ D-Rack wasn't feeling him or his jokes at all, okay? He didn't get no dings. So, moral of the story, y'all, you will reap what you sow, meaning that you will eventually have to face the consequences that come with your actions, especially when you try to finesse someone who did you a favor, okay? Now, last but not least in celebrity news, y'all, we're going to talk about Jussie Smollett. And I'm going to just tell y'all, I'm tired of hearing about this case, to be honest. I really am. And I say that because I just feel like no matter how hard Jussie tries to plead his case, the outcome never turns out in his favor. Like, it just always shows lying. Every time he opens his mouth, okay? Or every time we hear a new developing story. And I mean, as far as him trying to, as far as Jussie trying to convince the world that he didn't stage his attack, although all signs are showing that he did, I don't know, y'all. This is not looking good. So long story short, okay, a source told Page Six that Jussie and one of his attackers, his name is Abel, had a sexual relationship, okay? Now, the source is claiming that the two used to party together, and they went to this club or lounge, like a Chicago bathhouse, multiple times. And when you go, you have to show ID. So there should be a record of their visits, okay? Now, we're going to see if these visits, if this comes out when they go to court and stuff like that, right? Because y'all know now, like this report that just came out, it came out just in time, just as Jussie is set to take the stand for his involvement with fabricating the alleged fake hate crime case, or the alleged fake hate crime that he may or may not have set up against himself. Who knows? Okay. Obviously, all parties are denying the claims that there was a sexual relationship between the two. Okay. And here's why. First and foremost, okay, Abel and his brother are from Nigeria. And supposedly, well, at least what I've read, Nigeria is not as accepting to homosexuality as the US. So even if by a chance the sexual relationship allegations are true, Abel is most likely not going to admit it, especially not publicly, okay? And in fact, I think him and his brother even went as far as suing Jussie's lawyer for even making these claims in the first place, okay? So Jussie, now on the other hand, so Abel is like, no, that's not true. It's not going to happen. Jussie, on the other hand, I don't know if he is going to admit it at this point or not, because I think his main focus is just trying to figure out how is he going to get the jury to believe that he did not stage his own hate crime. Although all the evidence, and when I say all the evidence, I'm talking about the video of the brothers purchasing the materials that they used for the hate crime, for the attack. I'm talking about the video of the boys in the car on their way to perform the attack, the money that was transferred to them for doing the attack. It's just a lot of evidence that's just pointing to Jussie. It's not it, brother. It's just not it. It's just not it. So at the end of the day, how do I say it nicely? Jussie, it just seems like you are lying. And that is no pun intended, okay? No pun intended. So that's all we have today, guys, for my top celebrity news of the week. Be sure to follow Creative Roots on Instagram and Facebook. Again, it's at creativeroots.ent on Instagram and Facebook. Be on the lookout for our website launch, which should be coming soon. This video will be posted on that site, and you can also get access to the audio version of this video. For those of you who are watching on my YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe. If you like my celebrity news or my take on how I deliver the celebrity news, be sure to subscribe. Share this video with 3, 4, 5, 6 of your friends in them. And invite them to join us. Watch these videos. Give me a thumbs up. Comment below. Let me know what you think about any of these topics. And I will be back again next week to talk more about celebrity news. But until then, stay home, stay safe, and wash your filthy hands, okay? Bye, y'all. See you next time.